Ever catch yourself like just scrolling on your phone? Scrolling and scrolling. And you kind of zone out and you're not even really looking for anything anymore. You're definitely not alone if you do that. In today's deep dive, we're going to explore kind of the whole world of mobile devices. And we're going to go beyond the just put your phone down advice, right? And really try to figure out how to enjoy our tech without letting it, kind of take over. So we are diving into How to Avoid Mobile Addiction. It's by Krishna Sharma. And just to be clear, right, this deep dive is not about like becoming anti-technology. It's really more about like understanding the psychology behind why our phones are just so hard to put down sometimes. Like you wouldn't eat cake for every meal. So we're kind of going for that same approach, but with our devices.
Yeah, I think what I find so interesting about this book is that Sharma just dives right into the heart of the matter, He says it's not even really about how much you use your phone. It's really about how that use is impacting your life.
So then how do we know if we've crossed the line from like, oh, this is, pretty normal phone use to maybe this is becoming a problem?
Yeah, he gives some like really relatable examples in the book. So like, are you constantly checking your phone even when, like logically nothing new has popped up? Or like, have you ever like felt that phantom buzz in your pockets? Like our brains are craving those little dopamine hits.
Oh my gosh, tell me you haven't experienced that phantom buzz. See, that's like such a perfect example of how our brain chemistry gets like all wrapped up in this. And then the book goes even deeper into social media, right? Because it's like the ultimate comparison game. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get sucked into comparing your life to like everyone else's highlight reel?
Oh, absolutely. And that is exactly the kind of psychological hook that Sharma is talking about. Those constant cycles of posting and scrolling and comparing. It's all designed to keep us engaged. But the thing is, those comparisons, they can leave us feeling inadequate, envious, even if we know, like logically, that social media is just a tiny sliver of reality. It's still hard.
It's just like kind of wild to think about how these tiny little devices that we just carry around in our pockets can have such a big impact on our brains and our well-being. And Sharma like really dives into those deeper consequences in Pasted Text.
Totally. We hear a lot about like the obvious things like eye strain from staring at screens all day. But this book goes deeper. It talks about the maybe less obvious stuff, but the more concerning stuff.
Yeah.
Impacts on our sleep, our stress levels, and even our relationship.
One of the things that really got me in the book was the section on blue light. I knew, like, obviously it could mess with your sleep, but the way Sharma explains it, it's not even just about, like, the amount of sleep that we get, but the quality of sleep, right? It's like, if you had the choice between, like, a stale donut and a really delicious, like, gourmet pastry, I mean, they're both technically dessert, but the experience is just totally different.
It is. That's a great way to put it. That's a great analogy. Yeah. He talks about how blue light from our devices, it kind of tricks our brains into thinking that it's still daytime, which then messes with our natural melatonin production.
Melatonin.
Yeah, melatonin is that hormone that like regulates our sleep-wake cycle.
Oh, right.
And so without enough of it, we just don't reach those like deeper, more restorative stages of sleep.
And then when we're sleep deprived, it's like everything suffers, right? Our mood, our focus, our energy levels. It's like trying to like run a car on fumes. But even beyond sleep, Sharma makes this like really compelling connection between all this screen time and mental health challenges like anxiety and depression.
And, he really stresses that it's not just the lack of sleep that's contributing to that, but it's also like the content that we're consuming and those comparisons that we're constantly making on social media, which can really fuel, feelings of anxiety and inadequacy. It's like we're constantly bombarding ourselves with all these little subtle messages that say, you're not good enough. You don't have enough. You're not doing enough.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, of comparing our everyday lives to like these perfectly curated versions of reality that we see online. We totally forget that. Like those are just like tiny little snapshots and they don't represent like the full picture.
Exactly. And that's where Sharma's suggestion of a digital detox comes in. Yeah, he talks about it as like a way to kind of hit the refresh button on our minds and our bodies.
I think when a lot of people hear like digital detox, they think they gotta like completely ditch their phone and like go live in the woods somewhere. And, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, he really stresses that. Even just like small breaks can make a really big difference.
Okay, so what are some like practical ways that we can kind of work a digital detox into our lives without like doing totally cold turkey? Because I think that's, most of us aren't going to like chuck our phones in a lake and like pretend it's the 1800s.
That's it. Totally. He has some really like actionable strategies in the book. One thing he suggests is like setting specific screen time limits for certain apps, especially those apps that tend to like suck us into that comparison trap.
Yeah. That's such a good idea because it's so easy to just like lose track of time, right? When you're just scrolling and scrolling. And then I also love the idea, I don't know if you do this, but like creating tech-free zones in your home. So like maybe the dinner table is a tech-free zone or your bedroom. Or like if you have like a cozy little reading nook, like make that a tech-free zone just so you can reclaim those spaces for like genuine connection, relaxation, just being more mindful and present. It's interesting, right? We talk about like the phone problem and it seems like it's us against the devices, like we have to fight to use them less. But this book, Pasted Text, it doesn't just tell us to like use our phones less, it gives us something to like replace that scrolling with.
He wants us to rediscover the things that bring us joy, like real joy and fulfillment, things we maybe kind of let slide while we were busy, glued to our screen.
Right. It's like he's saying, remember like what it feels like to do something you actually enjoy. And he gives some concrete like suggestions too, like reconnecting with nature. And I don't mean like, just a quick walk around the block, but like really immersing yourself in nature. Can you imagine like hiking through a forest, no phone, just like totally present?
Yeah, it's a totally different kind of engagement than like our digital lives, right?
Totally.
Instead of just like passively scrolling, we're using our senses, our bodies, our minds, and like those experiences that really stay with you, not like scrolling through a feed.
It's like hitting the reset button. Right?
Totally.
And it's not just like nature either. Sharma also talks about like pursuing creative outlets. So like painting, writing, playing music, things that kind of let you tap into that flow state where you're so focused, you totally lose track of time.
Yes. Finding things that make you forget to check your phone.
Yeah.
Because you're so engaged with the real world.
Exactly.
And the cool thing is it's different for everyone. It's just about like finding what lights you up, what makes you feel alive.
It all comes back to like that mindfulness thing that he talks about, not just as like a buzzword, but like as an actual way of life, right? Being present in our relationships, in our experience, recognizing that like we have a choice in how we interact with our tech. We don't just have to be like passive consumers of information, right?
They can be active creators. I like that of our own experiences.
It's really about like taking back control. And I like Sharma's closing thought in the book. He asks people to imagine like their ideal day, not a day that's, ruled by notifications and endless scrolling, but a day where technology actually enhances their life.
What would that look like for you?
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
It does.
We really do have the power to design our lives, both on and offline. So yeah, that's our deep dive. Really interesting stuff.
Really interesting.
Hopefully this helps you like start thinking about your own relationship with your phone and, make some changes if you need to. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the audio podcast. You're here with my friend Jordan, and I'm Ashley. We hope today's episode brought some light to your day. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Share it with a friend and keep spreading the good vibes. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep shining.